Adam Taxon continuing here in Clearwater Beach, Florida. I'm actually in town as part of Team Dykstra. I'm going to be going to the memorial service and the events with another person who's here with Lenny. And Lenny's obviously going to be here, as are a number of the 93 Phillies. We are not in the studio, so the sound quality may not be as good as usual, but Lenny Dykstra is here right now, and I just want to get his thoughts. It must be kind of strange about someone's mortality as you're going to. It's not the first funeral you went of a teammate you went to a World Series with. Gary Carter, obviously on the Mets, strangely a catcher and a team leader there as well. But Daulton, was. You were close with him, and it can't be that easy for you right now. I don't know what's going on in your head. I can't relate.
Yeah, it's a difficult time because it just makes you realize, how precious time really is. And, I'm going to see a lot of teammates, a lot of ownership, a lot of people in the Philadelphia Philly brass that I haven't seen in a long time. So when you couple that in with, the fact that, my good friend is gone. He's dead. And it just makes you realize how fortunate you are to be, healthy and functioning day to day. But Daulton will be sorely missed. He was the toughest guy, one of the toughest guys I ever played with, and a close friend, the guy you want to go to war with,
Yeah, you've spoken about Daulton and here and elsewhere. I'm more concerned with what is going through your head right now in terms of how does it make you evaluate life a little differently. Maybe we'll talk about Daulton later after the service, but and first of all, is it a little easier? It was a similar situation as with Gary Carter, that you knew it was coming as opposed to a sudden loss.
Right,
that's what happened with all my grandparents. We knew it was coming. I've never had someone close to me that I just lost.
Right. I lost my dad that way.
Your dad was?
He never had he was like 65, but he never had, he never went to the doctor once. He had an aneurysm, so that was much more tragic. We've been planning on this, and it's amazing. Darren lived, they said 2 years to live, and he lived 4.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you the constitution of this man. But, yeah, no, the thing is we're all older now. 1993, you have to go back, 24 years, I think. 24 years, and so the majority of the teammates will be there, the majority of the front office people will be there. And, I'm here to pay my respects. If anybody earned it, it's Darren Daulton. So it'll be good to see some of my old teammates and catch up. And like I said, I'm here strictly, this is about Darren Daulton, not about me.
Right, I just want to know, people want to know what you're feeling right now. Here's another question. Do you have a certain responsibility now as, I guess, the ambassador for the 93 Phillies? You were clearly the star of the team. You were second in MVP voting. Everyone knows the year you had 93. But Daulton was, to some extent, the leader of the clubhouse. He's gone now. Now, it's sort of, if someone's going to bring the team together, obviously Schilling had a great career, borderline Hall of Famer, but he was not a star yet at that point.
He was independent, yeah. Well, there's nothing to bring together. It's over. We played 25 years ago. But that being said, the Phillies, they haven't been really knocking on my door. So, it was a little disturbing they didn't invite me back to the celebration or to the alumni game. I was kind of surprised since.
Well, they seem to run, no offense, I'm a lifelong Phillies fan, they seem to run their alumni things, and I saw they've missed players on the email, and you can see how well they run a baseball team if you look at the standings right now. Not to bury them, but they're not the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, the thing that's weird is, with Philly, it all ended great. I single-handedly, and I'm going to say that because it's true, took us to the World Series, and I say that meaning because I set the tone, okay?
Right.
On the field. See, Daulton was our voice off the field, and where I'm going with that is, the fans love me, and then I got the Phillies back to $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it gets better than that. But I don't know. They've changed kind of, the front office and stuff. So I don't.
It's not the same people as when you were there.
Exactly, it's not the same people. I only know a few people, but anyways, it'll be an interesting day. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the respect and honor that I have for my teammate and good friend Darren Daulton.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts? Just you've mentioned it before. Lessons people can learn from his life. What do you expect people to say today?
I don't know, man. That's a great question. I mean, I would think they're gonna, get on top of what I'm saying, and that Darren was a natural leader. He was our voice in the clubhouse. He was the guy that kept everybody in line, and he was a horse. I mean, people don't understand what he went through to just get back on the field. I mean, he wasn't supposed to play again. He had 3 ACLs, but he was. I mean, like I said, he's the kind of teammate you wanted to have on your team, and so it'll be fun to see some of my old buddies, and because Daulton would have wanted a celebration. See, Dalton's not a pity party guy. Yeah, so that's why the Phillies, I think, are calling it a celebration.
Right.
And the fact that they're burying him, 2 weeks after.
Right.
I don't know.
Or it's cremation.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I Dream of Jeannie bottle. I don't know how that works. I just know the man, how he wants to be remembered.
The other question I have is looking at your career. Obviously, you started with the Mets, not the Phillies, and I guess Carter was traded in '84 or '85. You really played with two great catchers and team leaders. Do you think your career is better than it might have been because you had those guys as sort of not quite quarterback in the quarterback role? And it set a tone for the team, the way baseball's supposed to be played. The Mets were good every year you were there. The Phillies, maybe not '89, but the part of '89. And the Phillies were not that good every year except '93.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, the bottom line is with the Mets, I was a young player, and I was like the guy that looked up to Keith Hernandez and those guys. When I was with the Phillies, I was the Keith Hernandez, so I was expected to produce and be the main cog. So with the Phillies, I kind of walk around with a 15-inch, and the Mets.
Sort of like Strawberry did for real.
Yeah, like 10-inch Mets, But, by the way, something I'm not, used to, 10 or 15.
Well, let's leave that for Howard Stern.
Okay. I'm just saying it's not a number I recognize. Okay. I was just being honest.
All right.
But it's perfect.
Yeah.
My Jewish doctor.
All right. But back to
There's a surgeon.
Okay, well, let's stick to Darren Daulton. No, I'm sure he would have loved this part of the conversation.
He would have.
What was the original question?
I don't know, some about
playing better because of the catcher.
Well, no. The bottom line is, see, that team. Look, I'm not going to sit there and like pat myself on the back, but it's not a coincidence that when I played for the Mets, we went to the World Series. And I played for the Phillies, and went to the World Series. Some players are just winning players, and I prided myself on that. I took it serious, and so one of the greatest times that the city of Philadelphia had, and the team. They're not coming after me, by the way.
Right.
The sirens.
Going the other way. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we flipped that city upside down. We went from last to first, and we do 3.6 million people. And I guarantee you, if you ask the majority of the fans at Philadelphia, they'll say '93 was the most exciting year in Philadelphia baseball.
It was.
It really was.
Well, in part, you had the advantage of it coming out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
came out of nowhere.
The other
and then
long
took
runs
the Braves out in the playoffs.
Right.
And then, like I said, so that was a special team and tight knit group. So with the Mets situation, I was a young guy, being just glad to be a part of it. Whereas the Philly situation, I was the guy expected to lead us to it. So,
here's a question: did Daulton ever sort of take you when you came to the team, whether it was in the summer of '89 when you arrived? Did he ever explain to you what your role, or was it just sort of assumed?
I kind of explained to him.
What was that conversation?
Well,
like?
because I told him I wanted him to bat in the 2-hole to get. He had trouble hitting for average. He's right around 200.
But, he was.
Yeah. So what happened was, I told the manager to bat in the second behind me so he can get a lot of fastballs and because I wanted base a lot and get in the hole. And he hit 265.
Which year are you talking about? Is that 90 or
90, 91? No, 90. It was 1990, okay? And that was the year when Daulton kind of came into his own and learned how to hit, and he learned how to hit. Again, not bragging, I'm just being honest. He learned how to hit because he followed my lead, you know, and kind of, you know, told him, you know, the bottom line is, you know, when you see somebody approaching it bad, like I did with Keith Hernandez, same thing with Keith Hernandez. Like I kind of did the same thing with Hernandez. He kind of taught me how to situational hit and everything. So, you know, in Daulton, you know, he came together for the first year in 1990 when he hit, like I said, he hit 268. Okay, and you're talking about a guy
that's good for a catcher.
204, 194. Okay, 201. Okay, you know, and then 1990 jumps up to 268.
Let me just tell something people don't realize. You were hitting 400 like into June. So, I mean, you were particularly getting on base a lot and getting to pitchers.
Yeah, and so is everyone. I mean, the bottom line is Daulton, and so that club, Billy Bean told me he remembers, like, he was at the World Series then, and we talked and had lunch, and he said, you gave me the recipe, you know? Meaning, so what happened is the other teammates followed suit. So Daulton walked 100 times, Kruk walked 100 times, I walked obviously 100 times, and Hollins was right there 100 times. So that's 4 players for the first time, you know, in the history of baseball, have 4 guys walk 100 times.
Is that right?
Yeah, and like I said, Daulton just fell short. I mean, excuse me, Hollins. Hollins just fell short with, you know, right under it. So, because you know, Daulton had he had 117 walks. Okay, this is in '93, and Kruk had over 100. I had 120, something 28.
Yeah, let me just tell people something they may not realize. You led the league in both. What was it? At bats.
Well, other than hits
and hits.
Runs. Set a major league record for most times it played by a left-handed hitter. It still stands today.
And part of that, you couldn't do that on your own. You needed the other guys to walk a lot so you'd get that many plate appearances.
Yeah.
So it's because of other guys' on-base percentage.
Yeah, we all kind of clinged and followed.
You can't do that on your own.
Right.
You have to.
So the bottom line is, and then leading the league in walks and at bats is kind of like a mathematical improbability.
Yeah. And it's only because other guys.
A walk isn't an at bat. That's how many times I went to the plate. But if you think about it, I mean, you can only say that about one player in the history. Right. I mean, history means a big word, you know.
Right.
I mean, so I'm still nobody went to the plate more than me as a left-handed hitter in the history of baseball. Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, go to your room. Sorry.
Of course, they had 154 games, not 162.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
That'll make a difference in that record.
But the bottom line is so that team, we came out of the gates and it was, nobody wanted to play us, man. We were rocked and rolled.
But let me ask a question. I've heard you on other interviews talk about that. But, I mean, how long did it take for people to take the Phillies seriously? Because, frankly, you guys weren't that good from, like, 83 to 92. Obviously, you weren't on the team till 89. But when did, you know, at a certain point, like, the Yankees have respect earned for a while. They couldn't possibly, I mean, you guys were great from the gate.
93.
Yeah, but, like, how long did it take till people started respecting you? Because you were the Phillies, not the Braves.
93 right away. Because they knew they were in for a fucking, excuse me. They knew they were in They knew they were in for a war.
How did they know things were different that year?
Because
the bulk of the team was the same.
We were all lit up.
Oh, it was the steroids.
Yeah, we were jacked up and we were on a mission.
Weren't you in 92, though, too?
Yeah. But 93, I showed everyone how to do it. So we all...
Oh, so
yeah, man.
They knew you were on the juice.
Spread the love. The juice, the amphetamines, whatever, and they knew we didn't care, you know. And plus, we played good, you know. And it was a fun year, man. It was fun to see those fans come out there, man. And they just wanted to get out of the bed. You know,
there's one other thing I want to ask you about with Daulton. You had some pretty good pitchers on that team. Pretty good, but... And again, Schilling, we didn't know he was a star at that point of his career. I mean, he only emerged at the end of that season. How much was Daulton's handling a key part of how well Tommy Green, Terry Mulholland, and Who's the other guy? Danny Jackson did. I mean, we'll leave Schilling out.
Yeah, huge. Because Schilling had a plan and had a,
Right. He was just young and
he
emerging.
was smart too.
Yeah.
But as far as Daulton handling, like Tommy Green, I mean, he was his personal babysitter.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was a big old, country boy, but had a lot of natural ability, but needed guidance. So that's what Daulton was best at on those mediocre pitchers, trying to get the most out of them.
And it worked.
And it worked to the World Series.
He couldn't do it with Mitch though.
Mitch hit the.
He couldn't control Mitch.
Wow. Yeah. No. The only thing that can control Mitch is the barrels on the other side.
Okay. Well, we'll not go on that today. All right. Anything else before?
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be a little rough day, but you got to do what you got to do. Me and this guy almost died together in a car wreck, and we won a national league pennant together, and we got a lot of together, a lot of
Extracurricular.
Yeah. So there's some great stories that can't be told.
I'm sure they'll be told tonight.
But you wouldn't believe them anyway.
I'd believe them.
But they are true. But anyways, and that's how Daulton would want to be remembered. He was a warrior, man. He's a gamer, and we're going to miss him and love him. So today I'm going to go pay my respect. So I'm going to get in the shower and buff up, PC.
All right. We got that. All right, we'll let you do that on that note.
And then I'm going to shave, and then I'm going to put some foo-foo on, and I'm going to put on, I don't have a good costume, because when I came out of the cooler, they took my clothes, but I'm a simple man now. I'm a man of the people.
Right. And Daulton would want you that way.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, Daulton.
But I got to put on a suit because I'm not necessarily supposed to be there.
Well, you're bad. You have the ability to do that.
Right.
I don't, when you've been where I've been, have you heard this one before? And
I'm sure people want to hear it again.
You've seen what I've seen, and you know what I know. It doesn't matter, man. What matters is, every day above ground is really a gift.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it till someone dies. So someone should listen to Sam Harris, and it's called "It's Always Now." It's on wimp.com, WIMP.com, something I'm not in the category of.
Yeah, you had me listen to that last week.
Yeah, it's always now, and this is the perfect time to hear it because it just brings it all to the front, So, anyways, let me go get the dick cheese off. And
Sorry, hide the children. I guess it's too late now.
Yeah, well, they don't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
But they will.
Fair enough. See, when we get Lenny Dykstra here on Backlash on Shark Nation Radio, we're unedited, and I'm sure people will like that.
Yeah, but it's just a simple reminder. Unless you got an anteater, that's a
right.
problem.
Well, it's Jews who run this show, so believe me, we're not offended by that. There's no anteater issues here.
I had a Jewish doctor do my surgery, who's now famous on television. And that's another story for another day.
You know what we had in Ormond Beach, Florida? We had another bris this week. We've had 5 different circumcision ceremonies in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll get you there.
I hadn't had any of them. Yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that and other topics after the funeral, but it's always unpredictable and meaningful with Lenny Dykstra, and we'll talk to you after, not the funeral, the memorial service later. Okay, thanks for listening. Not thanks for listening, this is only the end of the segment, you know what I mean.